With me right now, continuing along the lines, we're giving you the entertainment, but we're also giving you the information as well. And here to talk to us about the relief work that they're doing with regard to the flooding that took place over the weekend, Red Cross Relief. It's been called today, and I have with me Curtis Belford, who's the Director of Disaster Preparedness and Response, yes, as well as David Scobie, Director of Training and Development. Good morning, gentlemen, and welcome to Now. Welcome to the studio. And congratulations on the work I know you've been doing over the past. It must have been difficult, it must have been challenging.
Yes. Yes, it certainly was. I mean, we mobilized at around 7 p.m. on Friday. Yeah. And we got teams on the ground in La Horquetta at around 10:30 p.m. And we were basically involved in shelter management, using our ambulances to transport the injured, and as well as transporting persons who were differently abled. We were also involved in providing psychosocial support for persons who were traumatized by the event, and assisting in the distribution of relief efforts. David was on the ground, so he could speak more about what actually transpired up there.
Well, again, on the ground, there's a live wire on the ground. There are a lot of things happening at the same time, trying to keep things and coordinate things. We have teams that were coming in exhausted and having to redeploy volunteers, some being kept overnight, some not wanting to leave to go home at all because, again, they get so caught up in the whole release project. So being on the ground and trying to coordinate the efforts, the volunteers plus the persons coming in, trying to keep everybody calm, and it's been a really hectic effort.
About how many volunteers would you say you had mobilized through the Red Cross?
About 20 to 25 volunteers we had immediately.
And where was this? Where were you stationed?
This is the La Horquetta South Government
School.
So
the Greenville area.
The Greenville area, yes.
So that was,
We tend to respond based on a triage model, looking at the most severely affected area first. So we went to the Greenville area first.
And how do you prepare for something like this?
Well, our volunteers are trained, in psychosocial support, in disaster response, and so on. So we keep updating our volunteers in keeping with the model by the International Federation of the Red Cross. So some of them sometimes go abroad for training and so on. So that's how we normally keep prepared.
Where do your volunteers come from usually?
Throughout Trinidad and Tobago.
And how does one become a volunteer with the Red Cross?
You just get in contact with us. You come and follow the form, and we do our work, and then we get in contact with you, and you're a volunteer. Again, based on the unit or detachment that you might be involved in, then the training will be prescribed to you.
We also try to solicit volunteers who are trained in shelter management and psychology and psychological support and so on.
What's the next step for the Red Cross? Where do you go from? So you said you use the triage, the areas that have been worst affected, but what's next?
So we are starting assessments. The other areas we are looking at Mayaro, Mafeking, Manzanilla, St. Helena, Caroni, Las Lomas, parts of Sangre Grande, and now El Socorro. So we are conducting assessments and see what are their specific needs and see which areas we'll go into first. Obviously, given our limited resources, we are not able to treat with all areas at the same time, simultaneously. But we will do the assessments and moving as we can.
What specifically would the Red Cross do? Because there's so many things happening now. You have field on the ground, you have the chambers, the Joint Chambers Relief. What specifically?
Well, again, we spoke to the release effort. We spoke to assessments, medical, in helping and assessing persons, the psychosocial support, talking to families, trying to keep them together. Again, keeping the children involved, having activities for the children. So it's it's a family within a family. So you try to, although we are operating a shelter, we try to keep the shelter as a family. So we have things for the children, we try to keep the adults. We have persons who are differently able. So we have different things, and the Red Cross is equipped right now to handle all facets of what we'll encounter in a shelter.
And the Red Cross, you manage the shelter or you run it on behalf of some other entity?
Well, most of the time we support the shelters. Most of the shelters right now, the shelter at Greenville, we were managing it and we were supporting the efforts there. It was not per se a Red Cross center. Again, we are deployed to assist the regional corporation. So we are supporting them.
So you're supporting them. Because one of the questions that came up earlier this week was the issue of pets and separating pets from their family. Did you come across that at all?
We had some of those instances. Actually, we adopted a puppy. He came in, his owner wouldn't rescue at the time. So he came here and he came into camp and we adopted him and he was part of the family after a while.
Because some people were saying that, pets are part of the family and the separation themselves could be traumatic for the pets as well as the
And they help with the children, because
Yeah.
once we have the pets in the shelter, then the children, play, and so we keep them quiet,
Yeah.
stuff
Them
like that. Yes,
occupied.
that's right.
Well, gentlemen, I want to thank you and congratulate you on the work that you're doing.
Thank you so much.
And
Thank
of
you
course,
very
this
much.
station is always open to the Red Cross.
Yeah.
Come in and tell us what you're doing. Volunteerism is very high on
Exactly.
our
Yes,
agenda
exactly.
in this show,
Exactly.
on this show and in this studio.
Thank you.
So thank you very
Thank you very
much.
much. Thank you.
Curtis Belford, Director of Disaster Preparedness and
Yes,
Response, as well as David
Thank you
Scobie,
very much.
Director of Training and Development with the Red
Thank you.
Cross.